Hello fellow educators, this is Anna Salazar and we'll be talking about internet safety today. The internet can be a wonderful and resourceful place that allows teachers and parents access to useful content to educate their students and children. Having said that, the internet is also a place where simply clicking on the wrong advertisement can lead the user to an unwanted and oftentimes inappropriate site. Even on everyday websites, a user might find themselves choosing between downloading a safe document that they'll need or a potentially dangerous file that can ruin their computer. There is more sexually explicit material on the internet to this day, but that does not necessarily mean that students are aware of it. Being safe on the internet is like any other job or task at hand. It takes practice and commitment to ensure a pleasant experience. Not every person can say that they have had a terrible experience on the internet, but it would be wise to practice safe browsing with an appropriate attitudes towards the information being entered into the web. There are always imminent dangers lurking everywhere throughout the World Wide Web. Many of these dangers are becoming more and more threatening as the technology advances and the everyday thief has access to the technology and software. Educational systems should emphasize with more concern how important the proper browsing of data can be beneficial to the students. After all, they are the future. Why not spend time now and ensure that future generations are taught correctly? The future is in the hands of people that care about the child's now, and some are even trying to make a difference today. Ultimately, everyone needs to play their part and contribute to the internet safety cause. There are, of course, misleading roads on the great path of teaching the future leaders of the world. The internet can be a source of great information when used safely and appropriately. First, the internet can be a place that is not always user-friendly and safe. There are many intrusions and distractions that may lead the student to potentially harmful websites. Compared to modern-day television, the internet is also a source of huge marketing advertisements that will more than often be spread throughout any web page a user may visit. Sometimes, these advertisements can lead to malicious software with the intention to deprive the user of their personal information. The internet has created a way for users to share information that they normally would not share. Apart from sharing information that they normally wouldn't share, it has also been the cause for students behaving in ways that they normally wouldn't behave. The internet, when used inappropriately, can lead to hazardous behaviors, and the consequences can be avoided with a simple internet safety plan. There are also various websites that a user might find to help with their day-to-day or personal problems. However, some people might take advantage of the user's vulnerability. For example, students would not normally be allowed to talk to strangers at a store or restaurant, but they are allowed to chat online with users that they do not even know. Somehow this idea has become distorted due to online chat rooms. Online predators tend to feed off of people who are looking for someone to talk to and help cope with their difficulties. There are also millions of sites that require a user to be of age of consent to view them. However, anyone can bypass this with a simple click of the mouse and changing the dates of their birthdays. Some of this information can be overwhelming and may seem a bit extreme, but it is wise to know that according to an article by DeFranco, the FBI has made cybercrime its number 3 priority. With all the focus on cyber-based crimes, it is only logical to have a clear understanding of what it is exactly to be safe on the internet, especially in our emerging youth. The responsibility of educating students falls in the hands of educators and parents. Internet safety is something that needs to be taught. Just as a parent or an educator would teach their children or students to be safe in all other aspects of life, we as teachers and parents tell our children and students not to talk to strangers when they go to the store, when they go to school, on the way to school, when they're walking, everywhere they go we tell them to avoid strangers, not talk to them, but we allow them to log on to chat websites where they know absolutely no one and just tell them all their information. Internet safety and the appropriate use of internet should be taken seriously. This is something that educators and parents have to teach their children. To achieve internet safety, educators and the parents of students must make up a plan for the appropriate and safe use of internet. There are various components that should be taken into consideration when coming up with a plan for the internet safety. The plan should include a set of written rules that the students must agree to, along with penalties for not following the rules, filters, and the Internet safety program used throughout the entire school. Those behind creating the Internet safety program for the school should keep in mind that an effective Internet safety policy will teach Internet safety while at the same time protecting them from the negative outcomes of irresponsible behavior on the Internet. Aside from all the unsafe material, there's a plethora of information that changes the way the Internet users perceive all other forms of communication. There's not a single piece of history that cannot be learned from a few clicks of a mouse. Even though all this information is present and readily available, students must use caution as to which websites contain information. The educator's role as is the parent's role, should be to decide what content they think is appropriate and safe for their children to use. After deciding what information is reliable to use, both educators and parents should do their part and research Internet safety. The teacher should be cautious, as well as parents should be cautious, to avoid filtering and blocking all content and thinking that that will suffice for Internet safety. In an article I read titled 27 Talking Points About Internet Safety, the author states this quote, "Educating is always more powerful than blocking. Using filters on the Internet can cause two problems. One is that the user will be under-filtered, which means there will still be inappropriate content, sexually explicit content that's passing through the filters that students should not be allowed to see. There's also over-filtering, which means that the content searched is too much filtered. So they're not able to access information that actually is pertinent to their research for school projects or papers. So they'll be blocked from viewing that content. We as parents and educators must remember that we can place filters all throughout the school's computers, but when the students go home or to a public library and then they access the Internet through their laptops or smartphones and tablets, the filters won't be there. There will be nothing to protect them from all the inappropriate content that there is on the Internet, from the strangers that lurk in the chat rooms. Students need to know what to do or what not to do when they don't have the supervision of filters or adults, so that they may be safe on the Internet. There will be unwanted opportunities where students will have access to, either accidentally or on purpose, to inappropriate material. This is why teaching children about Internet safety is important. When students are found using the Internet unfiltered, they will know what actions to take or not to take to be safe. As previously mentioned, teachers and parents must take the initiative to ensure that appropriate and safe use of Internet. An option available to both teachers and parents is to visit sites that are able to give them advice on how to approach Internet safety with their children and students. Websites giving tips about Internet safety is a source that should be embraced and used by both parents and educators. There are various sites mentioned in the academic journals that provide information and tips for both parents and educators in regards to appropriate and safe use of Internet. One such example is NetSmart Kids, which is a site run by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and it's just an interactive site that entertains children while at the same time educating them on the dangers of giving away too much personal information on the Internet. This source of Internet safety information is frequently used by parents and teachers, as well as the students. According to Internet Safety, an article on WebWatch, there are several other sites that offer fun information and resources about Internet safety that can be accessed by parents, teachers, law enforcement, and children. ChildNet International is one of these sources. It's a useful resource that shows students how important Internet safety really is. The site not only encourages its users to be safe on the Internet, but it also shows the users that the Internet is a wonderful resource that they should not abuse. Another example of many, of course, is Wired Safety, which is a site run by Wired Kids Incorporated. It's an Internet site that is completely run and maintained by volunteers, and I think it was 9,000 volunteers. And the site provides sources to educators, parents, and law enforcement so that they may use all the resource and information on the website to teach their children and students how to be safe on the internet. The main goal of this website and this company is basically to make the internet safe for all of its users. The safe and appropriate use of the internet is the most effective and efficient way to access all available resources. Students who are not using the internet safely and appropriately are placing themselves as well as their personal information at risk. The software that is available today does not necessarily protect the user completely, as we see through filters. The software is not responsible for what a user posts online. They won't protect us whenever someone accesses that information when they shouldn't have. Information is very delicate in the digital age and can determine whether or not students are learning correctly or they are simply following another person's theories or ideas. A simple how-to guide posted in classrooms across the country should be mandatory and contain basic internet safety ideas. Teachers, administrators, and parents are responsible for coming up with an internet safety plan for their students and then implementing it. Educators should be wary of filtering and blocking specific content and not actually teaching the internet safety. In the end, internet safety should be a concern worth talking about with any student because the student's future depends on it. Thank you.